Hey everybody, Dr. Samir Joshi here, of course, and this is one interview that I personally have been waiting for a very long time, and I am totally elated and excited about this because today we are joined by one of the most well-known faces and voices in internet marketing, a person who has transformed our industry and given it the credibility, the increasing credibility that it has. Please join me in welcoming the really one and only Todd Gross. Todd, how's it going?
Good. I'm very, very pleased to be here. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. So tell us a bit about where you are at right now, how the weather is, if you can look out of the window, what's going on, just a bit.
Too hot. Right now I'm in Florida. It is too hot. I have to say, by the way, watching you and your expressions, when I started, I'll give you just a little bit of history. I started in television a long time ago. And when I was first on camera, I had trouble with that, the sort of hand motions and that sort of thing. I was like stiff. I would go like this. And you've got it down. You have just got it down. You're very comfortable on camera, and it's refreshing to see. But no, I mean, in terms of my environment, right now I'm down in hot Florida. I travel up to the Northeast a lot and, get in my cool weather there. And I'm looking forward to doing that in a couple of weeks. But I'm just kind of hanging out and mellowing out. I live the internet marketing lifestyle everyone dreams of, and yet it has that problem where you always have to be sort of on, you always have to have that laptop ready. So that's where I'm at.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, by the way, for your amazing compliment coming from you. It's really, really motivating. Now, Todd, like I was, we've been talking. I shared with you that I know you from, I've seen you from back in the day when you were doing, you were on TV and commercials, etc. I'm sorry, the weather part, and that's where I know you from. And then we see this avatar in the internet marketing world. Talk to us a bit about this journey and the amazing success that you have generated.
Well, it was kind of easy in that it relates to another question that you mentioned you wanted to ask me, and that there was just a sort of gap. There was a hole in 2006 when I first noticed internet marketing. I did it by mistake. What happened was I left my television job the very end of 2005, like around Christmas, and I wanted to get this weather forecasting stuff that I was doing onto the internet, and I was being rather naive. I wasn't doing it correctly, but what I was doing correctly was I was trying to figure out how to monetize it with AdSense. And while I didn't really have too much success, I mean, I was making like $600 a month, if that, with the AdSense ads. What I did do is I got thrown into all you guys. You just started hitting me with all these ads and things. And I noticed one thing right off the bat. There was no real evidence of any video marketing with it. Now, video was just becoming feasible at that point in terms of the ability to do video on web pages because the bandwidth was not sufficient prior to that. So what I did, and what I recommend other people do with their strengths, is I attempted to contact internet marketers who had no idea who I was. And I would say, hey, listen, I can do this for you. And I would give them an example of a video that I would put on their website. And from there, we actually helped to forge, the people that I merged with, that I joined with, helped to forge that video on the internet environment. Now, it had been done by other people. It's not like I was the first, but I was the first to bring certain things in a very prolific way. For instance, I started something with Derek Van Dyke, which we should have continued, called Squeeze Videos, which was really the first full in-depth delving into video squeeze pages as we know them now. Now, video squeeze pages has already become outdated, but at the time, it was brand new. You'd have video on a page and you'd have someone opt in. Prior to that, you'd have a page, you'd offer something for free, and you'd have an opt-in form on it, but you didn't have the actual video on the page with it. And we kind of came up with a system where we could offer a whole business around that. And that's what we had done. There's still products to this day that come out that do similar things. And it's funny, but that's how I ended up getting into it back then. I kind of got thrown into the pot and I said, hey, there's no video guys, let's do interviews. I did interviews like you're doing with me. I did that in 2006. And I don't do that very much anymore. I kind of, I found it a little taxing after a time. But what you're doing with me now is something that I actually helped establish 12 years ago.
Fantastic. Yeah, awesome inspiration for sure. Now, you obviously also faced struggles during this time. Maybe, everybody starting out does face pushbacks from anything that they are attempting to do. So talk to us about that, if you would, please, because many of my audience, our audience, here are newbies just about getting started out or have faced their first struggles, maybe want to quit, etc. So how did you deal with that? How did this entrepreneurial mindset?
Well, I was hit with the typical zillion products coming at me. And then there are those, I don't want to call them greedy, because I've also done webinars with things for high pricing, but a lot of marketers have in their heads, and this kind of disturbs me, that you have to sell things for high prices only. And I don't agree with that. And I didn't agree as a buyer with that at the time, because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get into. So what I would do is I would, as a buyer, purchase low-cost products. And those low-cost products would be what I would actually purchase, knowing that if the low-cost product failed, that I would not have a problem because I could just move on to the next product. Oh, my wife just reminded me I have to warm up the pool, which I'll do in just a moment. So that's the indication there, is that we have a situation where you can be hit with too many things all at once, and you really don't know what to settle in on. And my advice is to try a lot of things, but not a lot of the high price things. Because if you try a lot of the high price things, it's just going to fail.
Great. Awesome advice. Now, just putting ourselves in the time machine here and going back for, when you started, knowing what you know today, if you had no money, no list, no website, and even no clue, how would you start making money online?
Well, you see, the problem there is, well, there's twofold. Building a list is something I always recommend, but it's become harder and harder to do. But it's how I was able to start, and I've done that by offering to help other people with whatever my strengths are and team with them. For instance, somebody may be able to help you with your broadcast series, and then they could get their foot in the door that way. So that's one way to do it, is to help somebody else. The other way would be to try to build a list of some kind in some niche. And the third way is to work with local businesses, because local businesses still have this great need. Now, I got to tell you, I got a notice yesterday from somebody in Skype, and it was one of the dumbest Skypes that I've ever gotten. And he's a good guy, and he means well, but he didn't use the scientific method when he came to a deduction. He went into a business and he tried to sell them a video product. One of the video products that I had sold, he tried to sell them a video from that product to help them on their business. In this particular case, the local business turned around and said, I already have that product, and I'm already making my own videos. So what went into this guy's mind is all the local businesses already purchased my products and already have videos on their websites. It was a total stupid lack of, deductive reasoning. And his making that mistake has cost him a valuable route that he was starting to take. He got discouraged way too soon. So that's the third way I'd suggest that you try to get involved, is to find local businesses that actually have a lack of a video on their website. And there's so many still out there that just don't. And to use some of the video products that are out there to make videos for them or offer it to them. The problem with that is you often may come off as somebody that's unknowledgeable unless you really study up on it, perhaps get a website selling your services, and take the whole thing very seriously. If you just walk in and seem like an amateur, they're going to be able to smell that out right away. Now, I sometimes have trouble giving advice in the subject because I've been so successful selling these products rather than actually being the guy that goes in and sells to the local businesses. As much as I've done that here and there, it's some of my partners that have done that more. So I have a limited amount of advice, but if the one thing I can offer as advice, which would be really good that people should take away from this interview, is if you are going to sell to a local business, to give them something rather than sell them something and get them hooked that way.
Fantastic. Amazing. Very actionable. Now, building up upon that, and I really want to get into the meat of this now. What steps would you take? And these are, actual steps to start where you're starting off today, zero maybe, to your first $10,000 online. What would the steps be?
Okay, so I would do something similar that I did before. I'd go somewhere like the Warrior Forum and try to make connections and learn from there. I'm a quick learner, and even though I'm lazy by nature, I noticed that, and I have a very bad attention span. I was mentioning to you that I couldn't even read the questions that you gave me to read about this interview. I couldn't even read them ahead of time because my attention span is so short. But if there's one thing I can do is I could quickly learn about a subject. And it's important that you do your homework in anything. This is heavy. You have an opportunity watching this interview, an opportunity moving into internet marketing, to take this sort of like a schooling experience. And a newcomer who takes this as a schooling experience could do far, far more things and be far more successful than if they even perhaps go to college. Now, I'm not saying don't go to college and get a good education, but I am saying there's just as much potential for success in really learning your craft in internet marketing. The challenge is finding a mentor or working with somebody else that has some prior experience. And that's why I would go on someplace like the Warrior Forum where there's other people. I'd read a lot of posts. I tried to figure out what's real, what's not. Weeding it out is a really hard thing to do because there's so much bad information that is mixed with the good. But an interview like you and I are having right now will help stabilize people.
Awesome. Amazing stuff. Really actionable stuff there. Todd, I want to talk to you now something that is really close to your heart. This is how you've defined the industry and in so many ways. And that's about the culmination, coming together of video and software and how it has transformed the IM space. So talk to us about that a bit more, please.
Okay, so in this case, I have to tell you that if you were to draw a line down the middle and say, am I more a product producer or am I more of an affiliate? I'm actually more of an affiliate of other people's products. When I do come out with products, I am teaming with other people that have those products ready for me. So I've always been someone that did this. I looked for the best products that I can find that were cutting edge and new because those would be the most popular. And therefore, I've always known when there's been a new type of video product coming out that's going to lead us into the next era or help us continue to build on something that we've already seen. So in developing Squeeze videos early on with another marketer, Derek Van Dyke, and then other products from there, I've always been a primary pusher, a primary mover and shaker of the latest video craze, the latest actionable video tool. And at first, it started out that most of these products would be talking about how to use video on the internet. An example would be, I go back, to before YouTube. When I was first starting, it was Google Video, and then they bought YouTube. And there was both YouTube and Google Video. And when that merged, and then you could get a YouTube channel, we had a lot of products that came out that would describe how to use a YouTube channel to get ahead. I never actually followed the advice very well because I was so busy selling the important information to other people. The point is, that's what was being sold then. Then over the years, more and more software came out that helped you to actually create videos on your own. Now, it was in 2014 that this all changed and my actual business changed when Video Maker FX came out. I think it was around May 4th, 2014, which to me it's amazing. It's only 4 years ago. It seems like a lifetime. And I was a prime affiliate for that, and I also had a very, very small stake in that company. That was the beginning of putting into people's hands the ability to actually create videos. The problem from there is the other products that then followed, which were pretty good, eventually started to get lost in the wash because everybody started to copy the success of Video Maker FX, which without very much promotion at all, immediately jumped up to $1-2 million in sales out of nowhere. So at this point, it's still products that help you make videos, but now it's become very difficult to determine which is the best and which isn't. An example would be, there's a product that I'm involved with to some degree, Easy Web Video, which is a video player. It's currently undergoing a metamorphosis, and it's going to be better real soon. At one point, that product was so far above anything else that I know of, and yet it would be another product like Wistia that got the attention and got all the sales on a continuing basis. And yet our Easy Web Video was so far superior, but it was lost in the wash. People didn't know about it. It wasn't marketed properly. So who would have even known that it was there necessarily unless you were watching a video of mine or a video of one of my colleagues? You have such good marketing from a product like Wistia. So that's an example of how so many things come out that it starts to get confusing, and some of them seem similar. And I have to admit, at this point, it is kind of a wild jungle. And I think that eventually, in the next year or two, there's going to be some outstanding new video products that really make their mark and will bring us back onto a track where we could say, hey, this one's really special, that one's really special, and stands out from the...
You still there, Todd? I kind of lost you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, so I was talking about Video Pal that I put out with Paul Pona.
Right.
That is a product that was just, super at the time. Right now, it has a little bit of a problem in that the Chrome browser doesn't allow it to autoplay. It doesn't allow almost anything to autoplay. But in terms of when that first came out, it was building off of other similar things that I had tried to do in the past. But it was just an outstanding product that, you know, sold $1 million right off the bat, and really should have sold even more because of what it does. It allows you to, you know, to put a walking, talking yourself or a walking, talking avatar on top of anybody else's webpage. Yeah.
That was transformational. I love Video Pal. I use it. I used to sport a beard, but actually when it came out.
I would like to see that because I used to sport a beard too. In fact, if you hold on, I'll show you an old picture of myself that will shock the world that no one's ever seen. You ready?
Yes, we're absolutely ready.
No one's ever seen this. It's shocking.
First time for everything. Shock us.
I have to warn you, some people may have a heart attack when they see this.
No worries.
For the first time ever, we will see that Todd Gross is actually a hippie from way back when.
Oh, wow. Sorry, you speak up. Sorry, say something, Todd. Sorry, the microphone is on me.
Hello. This is like from my hippie days. That's how old I am. Look at that. Did you see the mustache? Were you able to see it?
Yes, that's amazing. Amazing.
Okay, yes, I know the internet connection's in and out. So we don't have to continue much longer, but I just wanted to get all that stuff out there. I think that I've given some great tips, including teaming with other people, going on places like the Warrior Forum and learning stuff, and making sure that you don't purchase too many high-cost products at first, but you do the low-cost ones and feel yourself out that way. And offer to help somebody else, a marketer like yourself or someone else, so that you can get your foot in the door. And I think all those things are going to be advice that will be vital for anyone new.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. That also answers the last question that I had. If you have any closing pieces of advice, but even if you don't read the questions beforehand, Todd, you already know the questions. So that's the most amazing part of speaking with you. I just absolutely love it.
Thanks a lot.
Todd, you and I can go on for a long time. I know you have, I don't want to mess around with you, and especially not your wife, because I know that you need to warm the pool.
She always wants me to warm the pool. Pool is 95 degrees and she wants me to warm the pool. That's what the funny thing is.
So thank you very much for taking the time. And together with Todd Gross, this is Dr. Samir Joshi signing off. I'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.